I'm Olek Novak, this is Chasing Cars. Now if you think of the MG brand and the quintessential kind of models, you're probably going to think of a lot of British roadsters from the 60s, but in truth, the brand hasn't made a roadster in a number of years. That is, until now. This is the MG Cyberster, which we're checking out for the first time in Australia. So today we're going to be checking out the exterior, the interior. We're going to tell you when it's going to be launching in Australia, how much you can expect it to cost as well. But before we do all of that, make sure you hit like and subscribe as we go on our journey to 200,000 subscribers. Chasing Cars, honest reviews of your next car.
Brought to you by
Budget Direct.
Now, while the traditional MG of old you might associate with vehicles like the MGA, the MGB, the MGF, MG under its current Chinese ownership, you'd more associate with more budget-friendly vehicles like the MG ZS, the MG4, the MG3, and vehicles of that ilk. But MG is celebrating their 100th birthday with a bang with the MG Cyberster. Now, you might be thinking that a sports car from a budget-friendly brand, that it might be a bit more of a Mazda MX-5 rival. Well, not really, because we're going to chat through a few specs of this car, which really position it much more at a higher playing field, more in line with vehicles like the BMW Z4 and the Porsche Boxster as well. Also price, but we're going to talk about that at the end of the video a bit later. Now, importantly, I've mentioned some of those key rivals, and with this vehicle, MG has actually beaten a lot of key brands to the punch. Porsche is working on their first all-electric Boxster and Taycan, but that's not here yet. So MG is here first with an electric sports car, and the stats are pretty impressive. So this vehicle has a super sport mode, and it can get to 0 to 100 in 3.2 seconds, and that is thanks to a dual electric motor setup. This vehicle is all-wheel drive. It has 375 kilowatts of power, 725 newton meters of torque, which all adds up for that 3.2 second 0 to 100 time. So pretty impressive stuff. It's got a 77 kilowatt hour battery as well. And interestingly for Australia, while there is a single motor rear wheel drive version that will be available overseas, but in Australia we're only going to be getting, at least at launch, the dual motor all wheel drive setup, which is the more powerful version. Now, this is not MG's first rodeo when it comes to electric cars. They've also got the MG ZS EV and the MG4 electric hatch in Australia as well, one of Australia's most affordable electric cars, which this vehicle actually shares a platform with. Now, you might be thinking, oh, it shares its platform with a budget-friendly EV, but at Chasing Cars, we are big fans of that car. And with that car, MG has proven that they can build a really good electric car. So the fact they've turned their mind to a sports car has us interested. Obviously, we will wait to see how it drives before we make a full judgment on that. Now, I've already mentioned this is not an MX-5 rival, and that is definitely true in terms of size as well. It's about 50 centimeters longer. So again, size is much more similar to something like a Z4 or a Boxster, but it is a bit longer and a bit wider than those vehicles too. It also weighs around 2 tons, so it's not exactly a lightweight sports car either. Now, let's start talking about the exterior. The vehicle is heavily based on the concept MG Cyberster, which was released a few years ago, although it has been toned down slightly for the version that you're going to be seeing on the streets. You might recognize that vehicle. It had much shorter overhangs. The wheels were really pushed out to the edges. This vehicle has slightly longer overhangs, but it still looks pretty good in the flesh, at least in my opinion. Let us know in the comment section below what you think. Now, on the vehicle we've got with us today, it is in the hero color, a really lovely red that presents really nicely on the vehicle. It's going to be available with 5 colors in Australia. So you're going to have a red, you're going to have a yellow, you're going to have a silver, you're going to have a beige, and you're also going to have a grey. Now, you're also going to have 2 options for the fabric electric roof, which can open in about 15 seconds. You can have a black roof, or you can have a deep red coloured roof. The deep red roof you can only get with the silver, the grey, and also the beige colour. But one of the headline features of this vehicle is this. Check it out. It's got scissor opening doors. So that's cool when a Lamborghini has that, but this is an MG, so that's pretty cool. Let us know what you think of the scissor doors of the MG Cyberster. But now let's check out the interior. MG has also recently unveiled a coupe concept based on the Cyberster called the Cyber GTS. It could potentially follow the Cyberster into production too. Which do you prefer? Let us know in the comments. So we're in the MG Cyberster. Again, cool scissor doors closing around me. Cabin is pretty cool, definitely makes an impression. So you've got this cool wraparound 3-screen approach over here. You've got a trip computer to the very right that's curved around you. In front of you, you've got a digital instrument cluster, and then to the left, you've got other functionalities like the phone, Apple CarPlay, navigation, things like that, all wrapped around the driver, which is pretty cool. You've got a nice steering wheel there, a super sport button, big and red. That's cool, definitely adds to the sporty vibes. And then with the center console, again, that continues that nice wraparound cocooned theme of the vehicle. It all feels like it's got pretty nice materials. You've got another screen over here to control the climate controls, and then you've also got a shifter in front of you, which is a button approach too. In front of that, you've got some cup holders. You've got a little cubby here with some USB-C and USB-A connections. That's all nicely lined. So again, materials feel pretty good, and a bit of storage space behind you over there. And the seats feel quite nice. You're nice and low. It feels like a pretty good driving position as well. So overall, it feels quite cool. So the big two questions about the MG Cyberster is how much it's going to cost and when's it coming to Australia? Well, in terms of how much it's going to cost, we don't know full prices and specifications for Australia yet. MG has not released those yet, but we do know that it's going to cost somewhere between $100,000 and $130,000. So again, similar roadsters of that ilk are the BMW Z4 and Porsche Boxster. Of course, they are not electric, at least not yet. So $100,000 to $130,000. It is launching in Australia in Q4 of this year, so between October and December. Pre-orders are already being taken on the vehicle, and MG says they are going to have limited supply on the vehicle as well. So that is our first look in Australia at the MG Cyberster. We're very curious to know what you have to think about the vehicle. Obviously, we're going to wait for our first drive of the car, which we are very much looking forward to, but let us know what you think of the MG Cyberster. Do you like the design? Do you like the looks? Would you consider this over a German rival? And are you more excited about this or something like a Tesla Roadster? Let us know in the comment section down below. Make sure to hit like and subscribe on our journey to 200,000 subscribers. And as always, thank you for watching Chasing Cars.